Hi, welcome to Oceanography. In this first lecture, we are going to focus on Earth's oceans and seas, what they are, how they are organized, and why they matter. When we look at Earth from space, the most obvious feature is not the continents, but instead it's the ocean. This course begins with that perspective. Earth is fundamentally an ocean planet, and everything we study throughout the semester builds on that idea. Oceanography is the scientific study of the ocean, and it is inherently interdisciplinary. It draws from physics, chemistry, biology, geology, geography, and even astronomy. The image of the underwater research submersible highlights how oceanography is actually done. Much of the ocean, especially the deep sea, cannot be studied from the surface, so scientists rely on submersibles, remotely operated vehicles, and autonomous instruments to explore environments that are dark, cold, and under extreme pressure. Oceanography is therefore not just a classroom science, it is an observational and exploratory science that depends heavily on technology. One of the most important and often overlooked reasons we study the ocean is oxygen production. A large fraction of the oxygen in Earth's atmosphere is produced by microscopic marine organisms, especially phytoplankton, and they do this through a process called photosynthesis. This means the ocean is directly connected to the air that we breathe. The ocean also regulates Earth's climate. The left side of the split image shows ocean-atmosphere heat exchange. The ocean absorbs solar energy, it stores heat, and it releases that heat back to the atmosphere. And that helps moderate global temperatures and drives weather patterns. The fishing vessel on the right highlights the ocean's role in providing food and resources, while the separate image of surfers walking toward a crowded beach emphasizes the cultural and recreational importance of oceans to human societies. To understand how the ocean can play all of these roles, we first need to appreciate just how dominant it is on our planet. Approximately 71% of Earth's surface is covered by ocean water. The average depth is about 3,700 meters, and roughly 97% of all water on the planet is found in the oceans. As our planet spins on the slide here, we can pause it over the Pacific Ocean. When looking directly from the center of the Pacific Ocean, we can begin to appreciate how large the ocean really is and how much of our planet is covered by the ocean. This perspective is critical. Earth is not a land planet with oceans added on it. It is an ocean planet with continents emerging above sea level. Although we divide the ocean into named regions, there is only one global ocean. Water moves continuously through this system via surface currents and deep ocean circulation. The global ocean conveyor belt, as shown on this map, shows how warm surface waters and cold deep waters are connected across ocean basins, transferring heat, nutrients, and gases around the planet. A molecule of water in the Pacific Ocean will eventually move through all of the other oceans. We will discuss this conveyor belt in much more detail later in the semester. For now, I just want you to recognize this circulation pattern connects all oceans such that changes in one part of the ocean can affect distant regions over long timescales. For convenience, the global ocean is divided into 5 named oceans: the Pacific, the Atlantic, the Indian, the Southern, and the Arctic Oceans. These divisions are based on geography and history rather than physical separation. As we look at each ocean, it's important to remember that they are all part of a single connected system. The Pacific Ocean is the largest and deepest ocean basin on Earth, and it is also geologically distinctive. The Ring of Fire illustration here shows a nearly continuous belt of volcanoes and earthquakes around the Pacific. This occurs because the Pacific Ocean sits almost entirely on a single tectonic plate called the Pacific Plate, and it interacts with surrounding tectonic plates, often through subduction, where one plate is forced beneath another. Subduction produces magma, volcanoes, and frequent earthquakes, linking the geography of the Pacific directly to Earth's internal processes. The Atlantic Ocean is narrower than the Pacific, but plays a major role in global circulation. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge runs down the center of the basin and is the longest mountain range on Earth, even though it lies underneath the water. Unlike the Pacific, the Atlantic Ocean sits on top of multiple tectonic plates that meet near the center of the ocean floor. The plates are actually pushing away from each other, creating a process called seafloor spreading. Magma rises to the Earth's surface where the plates are spreading, and that pushes older seafloor in opposite directions. A ridge then forms a mountain chain as the magma continues to rise. This process is causing the Atlantic Ocean to slowly widen over geologic time. The Indian Ocean is the third largest ocean, is mostly found in the southern hemisphere. Again, the geography is influential here and creates a unique pattern where the ocean surface currents switch directions each year. During the summer months, southwest winds come off of Africa and push circulation in a clockwise direction, as you can see on the left. While northeast monsoon winds in the winter reverse the circulation to a counterclockwise, as you can see on the right. This annual switch is not seen in any other ocean. Feel free to pause the video at this time to take a close look at these two maps and understand how the winds are impacting the circulation differently in the summer from that of the winter. The Indian Ocean also has a negative water balance, meaning evaporation exceeds precipitation and river input. This influences the salinity as well as circulation patterns. The Southern Ocean encircles Antarctica and connects the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans through the Antarctic Circumpolar Current. The Arctic Ocean is the smallest and shallowest ocean and is strongly influenced by sea ice. Despite their size differences, both polar oceans play critical roles in Earth's climate system. So now, let's talk about seas. Seas are smaller bodies of water that are partially enclosed by land. The map showing the Caribbean Sea, Gulf of Mexico, and Atlantic Ocean helps distinguish these terms. An ocean is a vast open basin. A sea is partially enclosed by land, and a gulf is typically more enclosed with a narrow connection to an ocean. These distinctions are geographic, but useful for organizing marine environments. Seas are grouped into three categories based on how enclosed they are and how freely they exchange water with the open ocean. We'll take a look at them here. Marginal seas are partially enclosed but broadly connected to an ocean, so their conditions are often similar to the adjacent ocean. The Arabian Sea, as you can see in the larger map here, is a nice example of a marginal sea. Mediterranean seas are more enclosed and connected through narrow passages, and this often restricts exchange and can strongly affect salinity as well as circulation patterns. The Mediterranean Sea, of course, is a good example of this kind of sea. And then there are inland seas. Inland seas are nearly or completely landlocked and can develop very different physical and chemical conditions. The Black Sea and the Caspian Sea, as seen near the top of the map, are both examples of inland seas. I should make a note that the Red Sea is not actually a sea, but technically a gulf. It is only connected to the Mediterranean Sea due to a man-made canal, the Suez Canal, and it holds the name of the Red Sea only because of a translation issue when converting Greek names to English names. Because of the narrow opening into the Arabian Sea, some would consider the Red Sea to be an inland sea instead of a gulf. The point is that I'm using the Red Sea here as an example to illustrate that these terms are often more geographical than scientific, and there is rarely a clear distinction between one and the other. So let's look at a few more examples. This map of Europe highlights several major seas. The Baltic Sea is a Mediterranean-type sea with restricted exchange and low salinity. The Mediterranean Sea is, of course, a Mediterranean-type sea shaped by strong evaporation and limited connections. The North Sea is a marginal sea broadly connected to the Atlantic, while the Black Sea is highly enclosed with minimal exchange. Oceans and seas have shaped human history through trade, food production, and transportation. And today, we're now recognizing that ocean health is critical for the survival of our own species. Humans have conquered the oceans for dispersal, for global trade, and of course for resources. But we also have polluted our oceans and have impacted how the ocean surface interfaces with the atmosphere. So now may be the best time in history to study the ocean so we can better mitigate the impacts of our own actions. In the next lecture, we will explore how Earth formed from a big hot mess and eventually formed the planet we know today. We will also explore the origin of the great oceans. Understanding where the oceans came from helps explain their chemistry, structure, and long-term evolution, and it sets the foundation for the rest of the course.